Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Tiina Urv, and I work at the NIH. I currently work at NCATS, but I used to work at NICHD, where my primary responsibility was the NBSTRN. So I was here at the very beginning. So I'm very honored to be asked to speak here. And if there's problems with the contract, you can blame me from back then. Anyway, it's great to be here, and it's wonderful to work with you all. So today I'm here to talk a little bit about where I'm working now, which is the National Center for Advancing Translational Science. And the NCATS vision, NCATS is a little bit different than many of the NIH institutes in that it's disease agnostic. It doesn't focus on a specific disease like the Cancer Institute. It doesn't focus on a specific period of life like Child Health Institute. It focuses on how we can get more treatments for all people more quickly. So we tackle ongoing challenges in translational research so that new treatments can reach people faster. So one of the things we look at a lot at NCATS is the translational pipeline. So NCATS addresses longstanding bottlenecks in the road to developing treatments to accelerate health solutions so that new treatments can move forward faster. So I work for a program called RDCRN that I'm going to explain a little bit more later, but it stands for the Rare Disease Clinical Research Network. And it reflects a lot of the challenges that we face in the rare disease community. Progress is slow, trials are expensive, and the quality of the data being generated is not high enough quality for use in clinical trials. The RDCRN network as a whole takes a translational science approach at the challenges. We're not just looking at one disease at a time or a group of diseases at a time. And we're not just looking at the scientific challenges. We're also looking at operational challenges and financial and administrative challenges that can really stop a treatment from being developed. So by focusing on issues such as clinical trial readiness, high quality data, and developing shared work environment and shared tools, we as a group are targeting the bottlenecks from many angles. So NCATS has developed these 8 principles to focus on for effective translational science. It's really understanding common challenges or roadblocks, as we call them, to determining the scientific and operational principles that can be utilized to remove these roadblocks. Things like emphasize creativity and innovation, prioritize the initiatives that address unmet needs, or leverage cross-disciplinary team science. So it's just like looking at different ways of thinking of how to attack a problem, and not just we'll just keep doing R01s type of approach. So the key NCATS approaches include understanding what's similar across diseases to spur multiple treatments at a time, developing models that better predict a person's reaction to treatment, enhancing clinical trials so that results more accurately reflect the patient population, and leveraging real-world data and data science approaches to address public health needs. So one of the biggest programs we have at NCATS is the CTSA program. The first CTSAs were established in 2006. The CTSA program was designed to support single site, multiple sites, or network by addressing clinical and translational science roadblocks, kind of like we described. So it's like a big model of NCATS's vision. It identifies the process and innovation that feeds clinical translational science. It develops new approaches, demonstrates their utility. It disseminates the data analysis methods throughout the community. And if you look at the map, what you really see is these are primarily, the CTSA sites are primarily located at the big medical centers and universities, but they also reach out to what they call the spokes and reach out to other hospitals that are nearby. So NCATS also has a home for rare diseases. NCATS develops new ways to understand and treat rare diseases. We have resources, we have funding, we have data-driven solutions, and I'm going to talk a little bit about those a bit later. So right now, our director is looking at new audacious goals for more treatments for NCATS. The audacious goal is really aspirational, and they're intended to inspire us to be bold with our ideas and solutions over the next 10 years. So instead of, they're looking for a 5-fold increase in the number of diseases with treatments, so going from 5 to 25%. And the approaches they're looking at are developing and using new platform technologies, driving towards more predictive tools and approaches in developing treatments, targeting what's common across diseases, and honing AI and ML and technology-driven solutions, and trying to find ways to help the data be open and accessible. The second audacious goal is dramatically increase diversity, equity, inclusion, and access across every area we support. So really looking at health disparities, training diverse translational scientists, prioritizing community engagement partnerships, and enhancing diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and improving commercial interest and market incentives for rare diseases. Another focus is to enable diagnostics and therapeutics to reach people twice as fast. Enable open science, that's one of the approaches we're taking. Repurposing existing drugs, shortening the diagnostic odyssey. What kind of things can we be doing to make these things happen? And really thinking outside the box when we're trying to figure this out. Apply many diseases at a time strategies and streamline administrative operational processes. So I work in an office which used to be known as the Office of Rare Disease Research. We're now called the Division of Rare Disease Research Innovations. And we do an awful lot of work for being such a small office. So we have data informatics focus, we have a research focus, and a convening and partnering focus. And I'm just going to describe some of the programs that we work with today. The program I spend my time with primarily, or why I left the MBSTRN to go to the RDCRN, the Rare Disease Clinical Research Network. And so for those of you who might not know, the RDCRN was established as part of the Rare Disease Act of 2002, and the language directed the NIH to establish regional centers of excellence. The centers have been continually funded since 2003 with competition every 5 years for awards. The current RDCRN is a network of 20 different consortia, or a network of networks, with support of a data management and coordinating center. Each consortia is funded by at least 2 NIH institutes or centers, with NCATS supporting each consortia and the other funding coming from 1 or more participating institutes and centers. And you'll see them listed along the bottom, and we really couldn't do the work we do without the collaboration of all these 10 institutes and centers from NIH. So it's really a team project. The NIH mechanism used to support the network is a U54, a cooperative agreement. This means that there's significant programmatic involvement from the NIH program officials. Each consortium is also required to have significant participation by patients or patient advocacy groups. Currently, within these 20 consortiums, we have 166 patient advocacy groups involved. So each consortium has to study 3 or more rare disorders, consist of multiple sites, conduct 3 to 5 clinical trials or studies, have competitive program for pilot studies, have career enhancement program that they design themselves, and fully integrate the patient advocacy groups in all these activities. So the Data Management and Coordinating Center provides support for both the individual consortiums, so each of the 20 that were listed in the beehive in the earlier slide, and the network as a whole. The DMCC provides administrative support and facilities, the operations and governance and communication of the network, clinical research support that coordinates the best practices, standardization, and good data practices, the data management component that in cooperation with the NCATS ITRB builds and maintains a secure data infrastructure, and the engagement and dissemination group that supports and promotes patient engagement and broad outreach. So the RDCRN has a broad reach. Currently within the network, we have 358 active consortia sites, of which 197 are unique sites. And what that means, for example, if you look at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, they have 9 different consortia conducting research as part of the RDCRN. Consortia also partner internationally, with 11 countries having research sites across the network. The RDCRN also has numerous consortia sites that are co-located with the CTSA program I described. So when we were preparing, we've been funding the RDCRN every 5 years since 2003. So we're in cycle 4. And before we moved to this cycle, one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to evaluate the program, and we felt the data was of primary importance. And we also knew we wanted to work faster, we needed to make things cheaper, and we wanted to have things of better quality. And so we came up with kind of an economies of scale approach of sharing tools and the environment. So the working environment is an operational environment was developed for the consortia researchers. So if you can imagine an apartment building, and this is the cloud, it's an apartment building, and each consortium has their own apartment. They have everything that they need to run their science. But centrally, they also have what we refer to as a tool garden, which has REDCap, Twilio, SAS, RStudio, Box, Ombra, and a variety of other services and tools that they can use for their own needs. The cloud environment lives at NCATS, but it's managed by a coordinating center. So this is kind of an unusual model. So we closely it's a close collaborative relationship with NCATS technical team, and NCATS to date has been funding all the cloud-related costs. So the tools are made available to the consortia at no cost, which is wonderful because then the grantees can spend their money on research as opposed to licenses and cloud storage space. All the assets running on the AWS site are third-party contracts. All the licenses are held by NCATS. The entire environment can be released to the next DMCC seamlessly if needed. And there we have multi-factor authentication, Duo, and it's really a very secure site for the data to be living and for the investigators to be working in. So we thought, well, if we build it, are they actually going to show up and use it? And as you can see from the numbers and the examples on the slide, the investigators are using the tools that we've provided for them. One of the things we're lucky to, well, when you work at NIH, you see things coming down the road before the public knows it. So when we started establishing the RDCRN for this current cycle, which we started in 2018, we knew that NIH was planning to change their data sharing policies. So we also wanted to have our data management and coordinating center build a shared data environment. So when we have all these rare disease clinical research networks over the years that have been collecting data, we wanted that data to be able to be shared and used by other researchers, other investigators, and even the patient advocacy groups to see some level of it. So the de-identified data is taken and prepared by our data management and coordinating center. They have the metadata prepared, they do data quality control, they make sure the data use limitations are indicated, and the RDCRNCs, or the RDCRC consortia and the DMCC hand over the data to the NIH for the shared environment. And the shared environment is NIH governed, and the data access is controlled, and there's a DAC, and the data that's there is intended to be shared broadly. We use the data the data is presented in a way that it might not fit perfectly with everything, but it's interoperable with a lot of the existing rare disease tools and data collection groups that are out there. So we're very excited about that. So again, the RDCRN, our focus is to turn many consortia into a research community. And if you look at the little icon in the corner, you can click to our website and learn more about the RDCRN. Another program that we have in the Division of Rare Disease Research Innovation is our GUARD program, and many patient advocacy groups and patients, this is the first place they go. And this also was established by the Rare Disease Act of 2002. The Genetic and Rare Disease Information Center is a public health resource that aims to support people living with rare diseases and their families with free access to reliable, easy to understand information in English and Spanish. And there's no advertising on the website, and GUARD does not endorse or promote any companies. So this is a great information source to share. Another program that we have is a platform vector gene therapy, PAVE-GT. And this is a program to address the unmet needs for more efficient gene therapy clinical development. So NCATS, along with NIH's national or NHGRI and NICHD, NINDS, have launched this platform vector gene therapy program in February of 2019. And the goal of this project is to test the impact using the same gene delivery system and manufacturing methods for multiple rare disease therapies in clinical trials. There's another program we have is the Bespoke Gene Therapy Consortium. And this is part of Accelerating Medicine's partnership program. And this is a public-private partnership among NIH, FDA, and multiple pharmaceuticals and life science companies and nonprofit and other organizations. The AMP program, which is managed by the Foundation for the NIH, aims to improve current models for developing diagnostics and therapeutics. And the BGTC is established platforms and standards to speed the development and delivery of customized or bespoke gene therapies that could treat millions of people affected by rare diseases, including diseases too rare to be of commercial interest. Another program we have a lot, is the Somatic Cell Gene Editing Program. And this is one of NIH's Common Fund programs. And it's working on improving the efficacy and specificity of gene editing approaches and to help reduce the burden of common and rare diseases caused by genetic changes. So this is something that your Amy Brower took part of. This is the Gene-Targeted Therapies Early Diagnosis and Equitable Delivery. It was a 3-day meeting, and we've put together a journal issue that's Gene-Targeted Therapies Early Diagnosis and Equitable Delivery. This meeting generated 9 different papers, and I strongly suggest that you check them out. It's a lot of food for thought. So we have some initiatives that people that are open initiatives that people can apply for. And one is the Basket Clinical Trials of Drug Targeting Shared Molecular Etiologies in Multiple Rare Diseases. And this is a U54 clinical trial required. And the U54 means that it's a small business grant. And the purpose of this FOA is to provide support for basket clinical trials of drug targeting shared molecular etiologies in more than one rare disease, and in the process to identify and overcome challenges in adapting oncology basket trial model to rare disease. So we're adapting it. Another program we have is clinical trial readiness. We have 2 program announcements that are available, an R13 and an R03 for scientific investigators who are interested. And I will make these slides available so you can find them. Another project we have is the TREND program, and this is intended to facilitate collaborations among academic laboratories, non-profit organizations and for-profit companies. And foreign organizations also may seek to collaborate with TREND. And TREND is not a grant-based funding program, and it collaborates with partners do not receive NIH grants. The program provides project management and drug development operational support to advance the project. Collaborators provide drug starting points for the project and the ongoing rare or neglected disease expertise. As with biopharmaceutical company, the projects have failed to meet key specific milestones or fail to adhere to timelines may be discontinued, but it's a great opportunity for people to look at. Another program that's similar is called Bridges, And again, not a grant program, but it allows collaboration with NCATS's intramural program. It provides expertise and resources to facilitate preclinical drug development. Instead of receiving grant funds, selected researchers collaborate with NCATS intramural drug development experts, and collaborators leverage the federal government's contract resources and assist with establishing and implementing product development plans to generate sufficient data for investigational new drug applications at the regulatory agencies such as the FDA. And I'd just like to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Thanks.